Hello, welcome back to Coding with Vel. And today I want to talk a little bit about something I skipped over in the previous video, and that is chunking when doing embedding. So, without further ado, let's jump in. If you recall, we were in Msty, and let me go to Msty, and we created a stack by going essentially here and going to manage stack, and there we are. We created a stack. And one of the settings that I told you that I'll just to set the split size type to sentence and then chunk size to high. Now, chunk size to high didn't really say much, but basically if you go look at it, you'll see if it's low, it's like 2 sentences, medium is 5 sentences, 10 is 10 sentences. We'll go back, change it, and see what happens. What is the chunk size, and why might you want to mess with it depending on the data you're embedding? Well, let's start with text. Let's say I wanted to embed, add to my stack a poem, a really long poem, maybe like Homer's The Odyssey, or a book or anything, right? And so I have to decide how to split that up. Now if I try to feed the entire poem to the LLM to understand it, it might be too much for it to really draw too much of a conclusion from, and it would get confused. But if I break it up into smaller pieces, so one way is to break it up into chapters, but chapters might still be too big. And maybe paragraphs, but paragraphs might also still be too big. And so maybe we go down to sentences. But again, it depends on what it is. Maybe for that poem, paragraphs are probably where you might want to break it up, or stanzas or something. If you imagine that you want to embed image, because you can put images in our stack too, or video. What does breaking up an image look like? Well, for the entire image, if you try to embed that as one thing, then it might be too much for the LLM to really draw any information about the features of that image. But then let's say you embed, you had a bunch of pictures from your vacation to your stack, and then you want to be able to search for all beach pictures. Well, if the LLM look at each picture, even if it might have a beach in it or close to a beach, it might lose that information. But if you chunk it up, it could break that image up into pieces, and maybe the image might have a picture of sand. And so maybe when you search for beach, that will come back also. So that is the reason why we use chunking, to break up the larger thing that we want to store in our stack. Now, why not go to the smallest possible thing? So for example, here we have our chunk size was sort of high, which is like 10 sentences. What if we were able to go as low as a character, to a single letter? Would that make it better? Not necessarily. And so going to really, really small is also not the extreme. You don't want to go on either extreme, where it's too big or too small. Because again, it might be too much information now for the LLM, and it might lose any features that it otherwise could figure out between things. So you don't want to do that either. Now, once you build a stack, you can go here and you can try to test and see what you can get back. This is not, chatting with your data, because remember, chatting with the data is sending your prompt, which is some question or instruction, to the model along with the extra data, and the model is going to try and summarize, make sense depending on what your instructions are. Okay, like when I asked it to count how many times we went out to dinner. So let's do a test. Let's search for dine. Press enter, and you can see it get back some information. And even though we don't have dine specifically, we have dining out, which the first two options they have higher matches than, like the other things that are with grocery. And, it says food hall, so you can imagine that there's some relationship between food, of course, and dining. So that's why we're able to still get that result. Now, we can search for dining, and we should still get our two result, and we still get the other ones. It doesn't mean that you can always get exact. Remember, this is likeliness, right, or similarity. And because I know that we have many more entries than what is shown here, that's one of the reasons why you might want to increase your chunk size. Just so, as you can see, the scroll bar here just changed to show how more entries were returned. And you can try and restrict, you can try and get better matches where I say go to high similarity. And then, like, let's say rerun, you could see change a little bit there just now. Certainly, if you try highest, you might be lucky depending on what you're searching for. In this case, I'm not getting anything returned with highest. But let me do something else. So, okay, so let's try and see if we can get either better result by changing how we chunk our data. So we can leave it on sentence, and the only thing I'm going to change is going to low and as a chunk size. And that is because, if you remember, low is like, it's 2 sentences. And because our data look like, it's JSON data, and I'll say just do, it's not quite sentences, it's not like text in that sense, like literature. So I'll just put it to low, and let's click compose, and let's just see if this change how we find. So if I do dine, I do run, so the numbers, are they higher? I don't remember. Maybe it's about the same, so not any better. What about if we do high? That didn't seem to change it. Well, then again, I should put it to like 60. And then what about very high? And then run. And then, yeah, we didn't get anything. It's about dining. Still didn't get anything with very high. I want to see if I can get something with very high. So let's do a little bit more tweaking. So I'll go back, I'll go to recursive character, because that's what the default was when I opened it. And I'll do overlapping chunk, and I'll still keep it as low. I'll do compose. And let's see, let's test this. And let's see, dine and medium, certainly. Let's do high, run, put this at 60. And then very high. Not too, still nothing that's very high. What about tree? Because we have our document in there, our tree service. Oh yeah, there's tree service. Don't know why we search for tree and we have entertainment come up. Maybe I can see Christmas, with Christmas tree, but don't know why entertainment would come to zoo. I'm not sure about that. For data like this, I don't really know what is the best thing it's going to be. So that's why I say you have to play around to see what kind of results you get. And maybe the other thing you can do is create different stacks with different types of data. So maybe the JSON data probably isn't one stack, but I don't know what's the best way. I haven't played with this enough to know what's the best way to chunk things. I just use the default. All right, that's it. I just want to cover chunk size a little bit and give you the idea of basically playing around with it and being able to play with your data by doing some queries to see what is returned that will be sent to the model. With that said, if you learned something, please thumbs up the video. If you're new here, please consider being a subscriber. I'd love to have you as a subscriber. I'm trying to grow the channel and I'm asking for your help. If you're a returning subscriber, I can't thank you enough. Really appreciate your support and sticking with the channel and coming back. Take care, stay safe, see you next video. Bye.